what we found out is that the product was not actually understanding what a person that plays games in their phone actually goes through. So after we made all the research, we found out that the product had to change because they were actually aiming for people that were not playing, they were not like gamers, when actually the people that were going to use that product were the pro gamers. And gamers have very different challenges and very different needs because they are always there playing. And they they have a whole gamer community. So that shift of this product was very interesting because we were like, your product, you're aiming very normal gamers, very normal people. And actually the people that are going to use your products are this very pro gamers that I know that are not so many, but they're going to give you more than just usual gamers. Because this is the main goal of conducting these interviews, is finding out that maybe your product is not being designed for that user and that you should be looking at this one here.
Hi, Claudia. Welcome to UX Bytes. This is the first time that you're in this program with us, so I'm really excited. And the topic that we select to talk with you today is the importance of user research.
Exactly.
So let's start with the basics. Can you explain what is user research?
Well, user research is basically knowing the challenges and needs of your final customer. So if you want to create any kind of product, first you need to get to know who is going to be your final user and what are the main challenges and needs this final user has right now, currently. What are their main problems? What are they doing to solve those problems? So so we can tell you what you can design based on those challenges and those needs. And actually your design works for this customer. And we are not basing this design only on assumption. We are basing this design on proved challenges, needs, and problems.
And do you use like some specific or effective methods or techniques to conduct a user research, or I don't know if only exists one or two? How do you decide which one to use?
Well, user research is first, if you don't have a product right now. So let's say if you want to launch a new product and you have nothing and you just have this idea about creating this new product and you want to know if this product is going to work or if it's going to be useful for your customers or the customers that you have in mind that you want to offer this product to them. So if this is the case, we talk with several users that are within your user profile. So let's say I want to target young people that work remotely, and because I want to offer a product that could help them work better in a remote working environment. So we first talk with these young people. We ask them about their challenges. We get to know them. What are they doing right now? What is their situation? What are their main pain points? And we do this to find out what are the main areas of opportunity that we can find. And then based on this, we go with the client and we tell him or we tell her, like, listen, your users have this kind of challenges. They have these needs. These are their main pain points, and these are your areas of opportunity. So your design must be within these areas of opportunity, and we recommend you to do this and this and this. Based on each project is very different. Then the second one, it's when the client already has a product and he wants or she wants to test this product with their final users. So they give us their product, which sometimes is just a prototype, or sometimes they already have this product and they have already launched this product and it's already in the market, but they want to see if they can change some things, or maybe this product they found out that it's not working properly, or that maybe not so many people are using this product and they want to find out why not so many people are using it. So each client is very different. Each project is very different. Each project is based on a need or a challenge that the client has. But in this case, if they already have a product, we go with the final user. We test this product. We see what are the main pain points. We see what are the things that they like about this product. What are the things that maybe are confusing, or maybe things that they are not understanding right now, or if the product is not working properly. And then we go with the client, we deliver the results. And then based on that, we maybe decide that we need to redesign the whole product, or maybe we find out that we need to change some things for the user to understand it better and to have a better experience.
I totally understood that, but do you use a specific technique? So, for example, it's a survey or it's an interview, or how do you decide which is the best technique to use for any specific project?
Okay. So first, we make a screener, which is our baseline. So in this screener, this is what we use to look for these users that we are going to later interview. So in this screener, we say, okay, we need this kind of people within this age range. We need them to work in this specific areas in the market. And then in this screener, we know which are our main users and which ones are not useful for this investigation. So once the user passes this test, let's say it like that. So once they pass this test, then we schedule an interview with them. So in order to make this interview, first we need to make a list of questions. And for this list of questions is the most important part of the research, because if we make the right questions, we get the right answers. So we need to make sure that the questions that we are going to ask are well presented. The user is going to understand what we are asking. And then the answer of that question is going to give us the answer that we are actually looking for. So to create this document with all the questions, we need to be very aligned with the client goals, with the client expectations. We need to be very clear within our team that we have this objective very clear in our minds. We need to make these questions. We need to make sure that these questions are well done, well written. They need to be very specific. And then once we have this document, we go ahead and we conduct as many interviews as we need. There are some research that we need more interviews. There are some research that we don't need so many. So based on that, we conduct the interviews. And then once we have all the answers, sometimes it's a lot of information. Sometimes it's very different information. Sometimes the answers that they give us are very contradictory. And sometimes we get, it's very confusing. This is the part where you can get very confused and it's overwhelming sometimes, because there are some research where we get all the questions and are very similar to each other. So it's very easy to know which is the challenge, what are the needs, what is the main problem. But then there are some research projects that the answers are totally different. So what we do is that sometimes we use several software that before everything was done using Post-its. And still we do it that way, but now we use a computer for that. We don't use real Post-its. Only if you're a very manual person, you can still use it. So what we do is that we cluster what are the challenges that they told us about, what were the needs that they told us about, the main problems, what were the areas of opportunity that we somehow found during the interviews. In this moment, we don't make any conclusions. We just cluster all the information that we have. We put it in the box that it should go. And then once we have this information, then we can start creating. And this is the part that it's fun, because this is the part where you actually start designing. So you take the challenges, you take the needs, you put them together, and then you have to make insights. So insights are phrases that can give you the overall idea of what you are going to be talking about. So you take a challenge and you say, okay, the user has this challenge because of this. And based on this, then he or she is going to be looking for this solution, or he has this challenge because X, Y, and Z. So we recommend you doing this. So insights are the overall idea of what the problem is. Why is that problem existing right now? And you still don't say the solution in that moment, but it gives you like a preview of what the solution could be. So you create these insights. Once you create these insights, you are able to tell the client what are your recommendations, because you can tell them with proven information that you recommend doing this because there's a whole investigation saying that your main challenge is this because of this. So based on that information, I recommend you to, I don't know, whatever you can imagine.
I can only imagine how difficult is that part, because at the end you are basing all this research on people, and all persons are really different. So I don't know. It's different to imagine that something that is I don't know, a problem or a need for me, it will be the same for another person with the same age, with the same job, with the same everything as me, and you can find an insight that it's working for both of us. And now that is two people. I can imagine that when you're doing a research, you're doing for in scale. So that's really impressive. And now my next question is, what is the period of time that you need to?
Well, I think the minimum it's 1 month, because you need to get all of the users. Let's say if it's a very big investigation and we need to talk with, let's say, more than 20 users, then it takes even 2 months, because first you need to find all the people. That takes a lot of time because you are dealing with different schedules. Not everybody can be available at the time that you need them to be. Sometimes they schedule an interview with you and they don't show up. That happens, like we're dealing with people and we're dealing
And I
with
can
different.
imagine that also. Well, you are not finding a friend, or you need a specific uh, person that is going that resonate with your product. So it's difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And then there are some products, or there are some projects that they need very professional people. So sometimes we even talk to CEOs, CTOs, CIOs, and of course they have an even busier agenda. So it's very interesting talking with that kind of people, because they give you really interesting insights and ideas. But it's a challenge even contacting them in the first place and then scheduling a meeting with them. Like, of course, they have a very busy agenda, but then it can be very fun because there are other very fun projects. For example, like projects about gaming. So we need to contact gamers. And the good thing about gamers is that they are very interested about this topic. So they love talking about it. They get really into it. So you can talk with them hours and hours. And the hard part of those kind of participants is that you have to stop them at some point. So it depends on the project. Yeah.
And I have three questions left, and I'm trying to order in the most important ones. So, do you have a specific example where user research did like a significant design change, or made, I don't know, a discover that the product didn't know, that you can, like, with an example, share how important is user research?
Well, um, from the projects that I have participated, we conducted, I've been really like just matters of destiny. Like I've had a lot of projects about gaming. And after talking with the participants about how they live their gaming experience, what do they want, what were their main challenges, etc., we found out that actually the product was not understanding the main challenges of a person that plays constantly any game. This was for phone games. So what we found out is that the product was not actually understanding what a person that plays games in their phone actually goes through. So after we made all the research, we found out that the product had to change because they were actually aiming for people that were not playing. They were not like gamers. They were just aiming like normal gamers. Yeah, normal people. When actually the people that were going to use that product were the pro gamers. And gamers have very different challenges and very different needs because they are always there playing. And they do their, like, they have a whole community. They have a whole gamer community. So that shift of this product was very interesting because we were like, your product, you're aiming very normal gamers, very normal people. And actually the people that are going to use your products are this very pro gamers that I know that are not so many, but they're going to give you more than just usual gamers. So that was very interesting. And that's where in my mind, everything made click. And I was like, yeah, exactly. That's why we make research. This is why we make user research, because this is the main goal of conducting these interviews, is finding out that maybe your product is not being designed for that user and that you should be looking at this one here. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, I did this question because I remember, I think in an interview with Sydney, I think it was Sydney. Sydney mentioned that one of the biggest mistakes that she see our clients doing is skipping user research. And because, like you mentioned, takes a month or even more of a time, and they want to launch or they want to start seeing something. But that's what I wanted to make this question, because so you can share the importance of the user research. So what can you share to those clients that they want to skip it?
Well, we don't recommend it because then the risk of not conducting user research when creating a new product is that you just design a new product based on assumptions, and then once you launch it to the market, it's not going to be used as you want it to be used. Maybe not so many people are going to use it. And then the risk is that you're just going to design a product that already exists in the market, because there are so many products in the market that being able to make something different in a product, that's the main goal. And that's the thing that is going to make your product differentiate from the rest of the products in the market, which are hundreds and thousands. So we recommend the clients not skipping this user research phase, because they risk designing something based on assumptions that maybe is not going to work, and they're just going to lose money. They are going to lose effort. They are going to be wasting time. And they would, even the clients that they launch products without making a user research, they come back again and then conduct the user research and then again redesign your product. So it's going to take more time and it's going to take more money. So it's better to do it since the beginning.
Yeah, totally agree. And the last question is related after after doing the user research, because I can imagine that, well, you already make all these recommendations, but then you need to deal with the design team, and then you need to deal with the development team if it's the case. So how can you ensure that your insights that you created from this user research are effectively implemented?
Well, it takes a lot of teamwork and it's a lot of brainstorming. You need to know also how your team is thinking about it, because the development team has a different way of looking at your insights. So you need to tell them, and you need to know how to communicate these findings and how to communicate these learnings, how to communicate these insights. So once you make and that's a very fun part of the design, being able to brainstorm, explaining to them why did you get that insights. So it's not only about showing them your insights, it's showing them also where does that insight come from. So they need to know the information specifically. So you have to be very detail oriented. You need to pay attention to all the information that they gave you, because that is going to help your team understand where did you get your insight from. So that's a very fun part. You need to brainstorm. You need a lot of teamwork. You need a lot of communication, and that's the only way that you can ensure that your team is going to be working in your same line. It's being able to explain your insights with real information, with detail. So what we do is that we try to not make any assumptions. We only work with information that we have.
And you stay part of the whole project, like you work with the designers every, I don't know if
Yes.
every feedback or every delivery or every, I don't know.
Yeah, we work with the designers all the way. We are always exchanging. So sometimes they have client meetings only to show them the architecture of the platform. And they do that. And then they come back to me and they ask me, like, we are not sure about this. What can you tell us about the user here? We don't know if to offer this option. Did you find this option? Like, did they need this option when you asked them about it? So they always have to be coming back to me to ask me some questions, because sometimes when they are designing, they find new questions. And that's the trickiest part, because you're always finding new questions. The more answers you get, then the more questions you have. So it's like a never ending story, but it's always good to, even if we are working in separate steps of the project, it's very important to always keep communication, and they can always come back to me and ask me whatever they need.
I just want to add before ending that I think Paula was the one that also mentioned that even if you make the user research and you think that you make all the insights and you launch this product, you always need to come back and start the circle again.
Yes.
So I think that's another mistake. Like all the clients, oh, I have my product, they're launching, and they never come back, and they need to come back and still finding pain points and still finding maybe your clients changing. Maybe I don't know. So
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, once you launch the product, the time is going to give you more questions. So if they find out that the product is working, but they want to get some more audience, they can always come back and make more user research, or they can come back and make a test of the actual product with users just to make sure that they are understanding everything. So that's user testing. That's another part of the user research methodology. So they can always come back, and it's good to always make little user research along the way, just to make sure that everything is working properly. And then if you want to change anything in your product, or if you want to make it bigger, or if you want to get to more audience, it's always good to come back and create another user research in order to make sure that you are thinking correctly and that you're going in the correct path.
thank you so much, Claudia. That was my last question. I don't know if you want something to add that I didn't ask and you feel is important to share.
Well, I think it's a very interesting part of the design. I come from industrial design, where also for physical products you create user research even without knowing. So it's a very interesting part. It's a very overwhelming part, but you get to know very interesting people. You get to know a lot about different kind of topics, even topics that you're not an expert in. So you learn a lot once throughout the way you're also learning. So it's very interesting, and you are always learning new stuff, and you're creating your own expertise. So very recommended part of the design process.
Thank you so much, Claudia, for your time.
Thank you.
See you to the next one.
Thank you.